Hi, my name is Garric Vosloo. This is Functional Medicine Fast Track, and what we're doing today is to again just bring you some more insights and education and show you how the gut health on the whole and exercise and pain or all the conditions that we're seeing are interrelated. And it's just so fundamental to realize and understand these interconnections of different systems, different organs, to pathologies and injuries that we see that may not be healing, and get it in our brain what we can do to move a patient, build a personalized plan that has their optimal wellness and health in mind. So there's a lot of research coming around gut health related to many different chronic diseases, illnesses, and we fundamentally know that even from Eastern medicine, that 90% of the time you need to start with the gut to heal the body on the whole. So if we have to just have a look at the research, there's 5 areas of the gut that tend to be researched pretty heavily. And those tend to be digestion, just how we're getting our minerals and vitamins, macronutrients, micronutrients absorbed into our system. The second is intestinal permeability. And have the walls opened up, atrophied, or changed so that they're not creating as solid a barrier as before? The third area that's well researched is just the gut microbiome. So the microbiome is made up of different bacteria, and they're either good or bad, so they can be dysbiotic or symbiotic, or they can be commensal where they don't really know whether they're doing any good or not. It's a key area to have a look at, and we can see a diversification through doing DNA on that microbiome to understand the diversity or not, and we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that. The other area that's checked a lot in research is just the immune system and how that is regulated, and that's a conversation for another time. And the third area is the nervous system, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. We know fundamentally the gut is about rest and relaxation, absorption and healing, and so often we're just in the stress state, which is sympathetic. It's opposite. It doesn't allow our gut to actually heal properly. And we know that there's a lot of research that when you're in a sympathetic overdrive and higher cortisol, it disrupts the gut intestinal permeability due to high cortisol. So what I want to go through briefly today is just some of the research that is coming out and showing how fundamental exercise can create diversity in the good bacteria in our gut. And there's been a number of research papers coming through in the last few years showing that aerobic activity, a sedentary versus a fit person, and how these factors all impact the diversity of the gut. So in other words, the more diverse the gut bacteria, the better our predictability of our gut health is, and that is a relationship of the inflammatory count in our body, the oxidative stress, and the immune dysregulation, which is all related then to that injury that you are healing, that pathology you're trying to get right, the fibromyalgia, the chronic pain syndromes, whatever it may be. So it's starting at a point, and there is a correlation with this good or bad bacteria and the diversity of it. So what it's really trying to tell us, this research, is that if you are exercising 3 times a week for 60 minutes aerobic activity, it seems to be the best formula for creating optimal diversity as far as gut health goes. So this is interesting now, because often we think we've always got to do more, and it comes back down to balance. And the research is again showing anything beyond 300 minutes, there's not necessarily any further health benefits for us. In fact, what it does is it starts to create more inflammation, more oxidative stress, and immune dysregulation. That doesn't mean that you, as an athlete who loves your exercise, you want to do a marathon, it's going to be 4 or 5 hours, and you've got to do all your training during the week. It's going to be 10 hours. We know that triathletes can be training for 12 to 16 hours a week. So what we need to understand is that in those situations, our bodies are going to be under more stress than usual, and we need to bring in all these counter actions to reduce the oxidative stress, to try restore that gut bacteria to a good diversity. Because as soon as it stops or it reduces its diversity and we start to get dysbiosis, the bad bacteria in there, it's going to create more oxidation, more disfavor for you from inflammation, recovery from exercise. And it's really then just a catch-22 that we're going downwards in a spiral. And we're seeing this more and more, particularly with the extreme athletes. And when I say extreme, anything beyond 300 minutes, 5 hours a week, we're getting more lipid profiles that are high, cholesterol's high, more issues as far as just not recovering from exercise the way they should, more injuries for those that are prone to it. So we need to understand that, yes, the body needs balance, but when we are in these extreme situations, there's a lot that we can do. And that is also just to bring you, don't be disappointed that the research is showing that's where the optimal range is. There is a lot that we can still do from a functional medicine point of view because we understand the processes. We understand the body has natural antioxidant systems in our body, and we need to make sure that those are working properly. There are things called a methylation process. We need to know that those genes are working optimally. It can be measured. And if that's working better, we're getting a substance called glutathione produced, and then that's going to help to quench that oxidative stress. So that's just an example. We need to be eating adequately. We know that when you have your meal, your body goes under more oxidative stress. So what are we eating from a quality perspective that's actually putting more goodness into our system to counteract all that oxidation and stress and keep our gut flora nicely diverse? Stress is a big one. Are we sleeping properly? Do we have stress during the day? Stress is a massive one to just disrupt that gut bacteria, and just stress of not sleeping, creating a good sleeping environment is going to again just reduce that total load and help us to recover quicker. So all these other factors that come in, and we first of all just need to understand what the research is telling us, take it into context, and then we need to understand that there are people outside of these optimal balance areas, and then what can we do to help those patients and those athletes to just not get into an unhealthy situation. We're starting to see more and more athletes in an unhealthy state, and for this reason that we're just not understanding all these imbalances that are happening. So fitness doesn't equal health, unfortunately, nowadays, and we need to get our heads around that so that we can be helping these athletes that want to, like myself, love to train twice a day. What are we doing to counteract all of that, that we can actually do what we love and enjoy life as much as possible and not be faced with some arthritic condition down the line? So I hope that's made a bit of sense, and just bringing some research into it, the extremes of athletes and how that all relates to our gut bacteria, because there's so many things, and it is just such an important area to focus on, concentrate, and make sure that we are always doing the best for our gut health. That's where everything starts, and everything else out of that can be helped if we've got a good gut health. So my name is Garric Vosloo. This is Functional Medicine Fast Track, and you can go to our website called functionalmedicinefasttrack.com and get more info and videos and education there. So until then, take care.